My grandfather was a survivor of World War II. I now know the horrifying truth behind it. Whenever I would ask my grandfather to tell me stories about World War II, he would start panicking and quickly try to change the topic. He'd scream at me and tell me to never ask him about it again, but I decided to try again last night, and instead of yelling at me again, he just made me promise not to tell anyone what we talked about, and after agreeing, he began telling the story. This all happened back in 1942, sometime during the middle of the war. I was stationed at an internment camp a few hours outside of Nevada. It was completely isolated from the rest of the world, and very few people knew about it. It was here that most of the war prisoners were held, the ones that were too dangerous to keep anywhere else. All we had to do was make sure no one escaped. Everything was fine at first, but things quickly changed on November 3rd, 1942. I woke up at 3 a.m. to start my shift just like I usually did, and made my way to the camp's cafeteria to get some breakfast. Before it was time to go, I took a seat and pulled out my diary and started writing about how much I missed home, and how I felt like I didn't belong there, just like I did every day after I finished writing. I went over to my station and started my shift. Everything seemed normal for the first 2 hours, but when the sun started to come up, the alarm started blaring, which meant that someone was trying to escape. So I stood up as fast as I could from my chair and looked around for him. After a few minutes, I thought he escaped the building and was ready to give up, but then I saw a man crawling around some rocks and bushes to avoid being seen. I knew what I had to do, so I waited until my sniper was locked in his head, looked at the Japanese guy in the eyes, and fired. Then as I was getting ready to sit back down in my chair, I was interrupted by the sound of large engines. When I looked up, I saw about 13 Japanese military planes in the air. I tried to escape out of there as fast as I could, but it was too late. As they flew over my outpost, they dropped some type of smoke bomb onto the ground. Click here to see how the war almost destroyed the entire world.